Hi everybody, welcome to Archimarathon. Kev, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about, there's this thing called Miracle Fortnight, how people just pull out their design in the last 2 weeks, for weeks and weeks and weeks, things just don't happen. And then suddenly, bang, all this stuff happens. Why is that?
Why?
Well, I don't think they teach that at university. We'll talk about that this week.
After the commercial.
The biggest hurdle for design is not so much the lack of idea, it is a lack of discipline in making a decision and moving forward. And that's why the final 2 weeks is very important, because people just realize, shit, I've got no time. This is what I've got. I have to make the most out of it. So if that kind of mindset happens earlier, you just go, okay, let's just accept what I've got and then push forward. You actually could have a very, very developed scheme. And again, it goes back to all the previous episodes we've been looking at. We've been looking at a lot of great precedents, and we're boiling it back down to, look, they all have actually quite a simple idea. But there's this richness that comes as a result of working through it. So I think that is what we lack at university, or even a lot of practices, just seeing that development mature as opposed to looking for this big idea.
And I guess one of the big things when you get more experience is you just know how to make decisions more effectively and quickly. I guess a lot of students would probably say, though, that then they get into a crit session and those ideas are immediately attacked or dismantled. And they therefore go, well, this person says I'm wrong, so therefore I'll burn it down and I'll just...
They don't like it.
They don't like it, so I'll just start again.
Better.
The biggest mistake you can make.
So frustrating, because there's weeks and weeks of stuff completely thrown out the window and start again.
Yeah.
So you're always just skimming the surface. You're never diving deep.
Yeah. So there's a real problem with people abandoning. Like, I think there is a discipline. There is a legitimate discipline where if you come across a superior idea, or you just find an idea that you're committed to isn't working, sometimes you do have to abandon it. But I think those are the rare occasions. I think students do it too often because they think they're being, the tutors or the panel are hating on it, when in fact they're just trying to damage it, because there is no completely robust idea. You need the most robust idea, but nothing's perfect. You need to be able to secure a solid idea and then try to make the best of that moving forward.
Stay on target.
Almost there.
Stay on target.
They're right behind me.
Almost there.
Stay on target.
Architects are perfectionists, I think, and the fact that in some ways, the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And you look at the really good work, and the more you understand it, you realize, oh my God, I really need to get to that level. And I think this idea of, okay, look, this is a learning process and we will be doing this for a long time. And you just need to accept what you've got, learn what you've got out of it, and push as much as you can within its framework, and to accept the fact that it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to get something out of it. And the next one is going to be better, and the next one's going to get better. So instead of trying to do this perfect thing every time, because it's just very, very hard to, and time is always against you. So you just, again, it's management of a project. And I think in studios, I think tutors almost need to run it like a practice and go, okay, I think, where are they at? Where are the students at? Or even in the practice, and go, okay, well, we only got so much time. This is the output we have been going so far, so we just have to do something, and this is it.
Yeah.
Get the most out of this. And that's the same as competitions, right? You spend half the time thinking about presentation, which is still part of design, but you realize, okay, this is the main idea. Okay, so how are we going to develop this and communicate this? And that's it.
So I think the one thing that I said to you years ago, and you would say to students all the time, is done is more important than perfect. Like, get the thing finished, otherwise you just fail. Plus, there is no such thing as perfect. So treat it as though you're working on an immaculate career rather than trying to hit that one-hit wonder. I think people try to go for that. Let's just make this one perfect building that I'll get famous for. You're going to have hit and misses all the way along. Remember that it's a learning process, and every project is flawed in many ways. It's about trying to make sure that you get 90%, if you can, of it right. And then you really, that's as good as you can do. In practice, if you're doing commercial work or your work's based on competitions, then you're almost not getting paid for the design work, which is what you're experiencing at university. So that work gets compressed down because it's actually the design development, the documentation, the execution is where the fees are at. So you need to be very good at making quick, interesting, rigorous ideas and illustrating those to be convincing to get into the bit that pays the bills, that pays the wages. And that's what university is all about, is helping you develop ways to make a decision and move on. Everybody that's ever been an architecture student, you know this is true, that when you start presenting the building that you think you've designed is the moment you start realizing what you've done and all the opportunities that you could have come out of that if you had have drawn it properly early.
So one of the tricks I do is that I get students to have the work almost submitted level, almost basically, you know, you have a deadline. You just push that deadline a week before. You just go as hard as you can and treat the week before as if the submission. So you've actually got something. So you submit something that is not going to be completely out of the blue that no one has seen. You've got something now, you just need tweaking.
So often you hear students say that, you hear people say it all the time. If only I had 2 more weeks. It's like exactly what you said. Well, give yourself 2 more weeks. Whenever the deadline is, move it forward. And I was the most annoying student because I noticed that really early on. So I would always aim to finish a week early. And then I had time when all these other things emerged, like, oh yeah, I could add this drawing. That's a really important drawing. These series of diagrams are important. And then I would strut around the studio when there's 3 days to go and people are starting to have their all-nighters.
You were that annoying
I
one.
finished, and people hated me. I loved it so much.
Yeah, and I was the absolute opposite. I would push till the very end and sometimes hand in late. You know, I wasn't the best when it comes to that side of things.
Well, I couldn't, to be fair, I couldn't operate at the end of a deadline. Like panic sets in and I just go, can't do it. So for my own mental health, I had to set myself a deadline. It was seriously a week in front of when the deadline was, because I knew I would hit that deadline and want to do other things that were better. And if it got close to the deadline, I'd just simply panic and I wouldn't be able to do it. Dude, I'm having old mate. What are you having?
Oh, I should go get some Prosecco. Hang on a sec. Hang on.
Kev? Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here. Kevin!
Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here.
What?
All right, got me a Prosecco. All good.
All right. Stay hydrated, people.
What happened?
I was passing your baggage along and got to the end of the line and then it came back and they said, Kevin's not here.
Checking baggage. That wouldn't be mine.
And then I
would not be.
No, because Archimarathon, we take little backpacks that we put in.
Always hand carry.
We put in carry on, and then we get off the plane. And we just go. Pew,
That's
customs
right.
were out.
Another very important thing. It's a revelation, I think, for a lot of people. They probably never thought of that. As educators, I think anyone really, we are more interested in what you can do rather than what you can't do. So that goes back to what's your thing is like, you know, finish is better than not finish, you know, and perfect, because, well, you just have to accept what you've got and then show us what's great about that, as opposed to, I've got this thing that is too difficult to tackle, I can never finish it, it just apologies all the time in the presentation, so I can't do this, I can't do that. No, tell us what's great, what you can do.
Mm. Yeah,
focus
you
on
hear
that.
some people saying, I can't draw, Okay, so what is the method with which you can communicate? Focus on that. Or you hear some people saying, I'm not creative or I'm not imaginative. So, well, okay, what are you then? Well, I'm more empirical and I'm more mathematical. It's like, well, I'm afraid that there are many architects that are very empirical and mathematical. So use that skill set. Don't try and create the curvy bit of art if it's not what you are programmed to do. Go and use your skill set. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. All it has to be is sincere and rigorous.
And you'll find that if you start that way, in some ways, you build up a base, a fundamental, and then you can actually move forward. And you may be, once you've understood how to do certain things, you will be, well, not will be, you might be able to achieve the more complex as you move along when you understand the process.
Yeah, well, you think of people, again, we've referred to him before, people like Sean Godseall. I'd even say Norman Foster. Richard Rogers is a bit more playful, but these people are interested in pragmatic issues. They're very sort of almost engineered based, and they pursue those logical, pragmatic elements, and they end up with some of the most creative, emotive, beautiful spaces, even though they're not like Zaha did and just or Stephen Hull doing a beautiful watercolor and then saying, build that for me. It's a different process. They're playing to their strengths, but they're still creating very humanist, beautiful buildings that service mankind.
And reversed of that, though, Zaha did, if you study the plans, you realize it's not as wild and crazy as you think it is, because it's actually very logical. Have you seen these little cartoons about the creative process?
I've seen things like this. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one, I guess, it's very much about this this time limit thing we talk about. Work begins, and you've got all these weeks. You basically just thinking, talking, and then the last minute you panic, and then all this work get done with a lot of pain and tears.
Or in practice, for a lot of people, it's off as though I won the job, but I've got to get through all this other work, and then you panic at the end. What's the AMA process, and I guess it's my process, is when we get a new job, I actually stop all work, and I'll spend 2 weeks immediately while the discussion's high with the client, while the energy's high, and try to lock down the design as soon as we can. And then I'm very busy, so then I can disappear, but it can kind of go into this pipeline, this process.
Then you've got a framework, yeah? Then you've got a framework for the staff to move forward.
Yeah.
As opposed to this loose cloud process of some kind of idea that's just there. You've got something tangible that they can actually sink their teeth into.
That's a really good point. Then the staff have something to work from instead of going, the deadline's coming, and then the pressure comes back onto me to then stay up all night and produce something so the staff have got something to work with.
Here's the other one.
The creative process. This is awesome. Oh, shit, this is tricky. Oh, this is shit. I'm shit. I hate myself. This might be okay. This is awesome. That's really familiar. I talk about the fog of war. There's this, we've all heard it. 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration it takes to get something done. And we all have those huzzah moments.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
What you need to know is you will learn to hate that idea. And you will learn to hate yourself. You'll always doubt yourself.
Huzzah! 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 Huzzah!
Every time I do a design, I mutter to myself, how do you do this again? It's like I've never done it before. You will hate the idea. You will hate yourself. You've got to keep pushing through. You've got to remember the huzzah moment, the this is awesome moment, and try to discover it again. Try to drag it through. And once you can do that, you suddenly show it and you go, oh, hang on, that's much better than I thought it was. Work your way through the panic.
Huzzah!
I think that's natural too. Even hearing from someone like Glenn Murcutt say that, like they still go, like every project scares the shit out of me.
Yep.
That's a start.
Yep.
It's natural. It's a natural thing. Well, if you are challenging yourself, definitely, it's scary because you're not just churning out the same old shit again.
I always think that any architect that makes it look easy and thinks it's easy probably has a remarkable team behind them. So they do their genius sketch and then go, look how good I am. And they've probably got these incredible, rigorous, talented people that are then making that, going through all of this pain. And then they get to take credit at the end. Do you agree? Did I just say something controversial? Leave a comment. So what do you guys think about the miracle 2 weeks? Do you agree with me and think it's not necessary, that you should be doing that early? Do you actually think it's necessary? Do you think you need this sort of lost in the fog of war period, meandering around, and then have that pressure? Do you think you can create that pressure?
Are you a victim of the miracle fortnight?
Yes, is it familiar to you? Is there a better way to deal with deadlines? Is there a better way to deal with the process? We'd love to know. Can you leave a comment for us?
What do you think? I like turtles. All right, you're a great zombie. And
Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Patreon.
Notifications. Patreon. Like, comment, subscribe. The gun, my fingers aren't loaded. So everybody relax. Not loaded. Blanks. I don't think this one's loaded. Let me make sure. It's loaded. All right. I'm glad I didn't use it that time because last time I had a cracking headache. Jesus. It took days for it to go away. Kevin said we weren't allowed to play Gloomhaven until we got this video done. We've done it. Gloomhaven. Gloom.
Let's go.
See you, Wink. See you now. Good. Go. Bye, guys.
See you, peeps.
Come and join
Bye.
us.
Gotta go.